Hello, everyone. I'm Mohammed Bilal, and welcome back to Beyond the Basics. Now, if you're ready to move past just cleaning data, then this explainer is definitely for you. We're about to dive deep into the skills that really define a great intermediate data manager. Things like anticipating risk and making audit readiness just a core part of your everyday work. Honestly, this is how you start building a reputation for real excellence.
So let's just start with a really fundamental question, something I want you to think about. As you move up in your career, what really separates a good clinical data manager from a truly great one?
You know, the answer really comes down to a fundamental shift in your mindset. It's all about moving beyond the day-to-day task of cleaning up data to strategically anticipating risk before it even happens. I'm telling you, this pivot is what's going to define the entire next stage of your career.
Okay, let's really get into this. I love this analogy. I like to think of this career evolution as moving from being a firefighter to becoming a fire marshal. It's just a really powerful way to frame the change in your responsibilities.
See, early in your career, you're the firefighter. You are excellent at spotting problems, a missing value, an inconsistent date, and you fix them. And that is absolutely essential. But the intermediate CDM, the fire marshal, you don't just put out fires. No, you inspect the building, you identify potential hazards, and you put systems in place, like sprinklers and fire alarms, to prevent the fire from ever even starting. It's all about anticipating what could go wrong and building those safeguards right into your processes.
To make this super tangible, just think about lab data for a second. The reactive approach? That's waiting for a query to fire because of missing results. But the proactive, fire marshal approach? Well, you're checking the vendor's delivery schedule way ahead of time. You're confirming the data mapping is absolutely perfect before that first transfer ever happens. See the difference? You prevent the problem from ever existing in the first place.
So, you might be asking, how do I actually become that fire marshal? Well, it all starts with adopting a proactive toolkit. And believe me, the most important tool in that entire kit is a risk-based approach. And the central idea here is, it's actually simple, but so powerful. Prioritization. Look, in any given study, you cannot and you absolutely should not treat every single data point with the same level of intensity. It's just inefficient and, frankly, ineffective. The real key is knowing what truly matters.
So, what matters most? Well, we focus on what we call critical data points. This is any data that has a direct line to patient safety, to the integrity of the study, or to the primary endpoints. I want you to think of these as the crown jewels of your dataset. They deserve your absolute sharpest focus.
So in practice, what does this look like? It means you're focusing your energy on the big stuff, like the primary endpoints, the serious adverse event reconciliation, which is huge for patient safety, and of course, the eligibility criteria to make sure the right patients are in the study from day one.
Now, this proactive, risk-based approach, it leads you naturally to our next essential skill, developing an audit-ready mindset. And I want to be crystal clear about what this really means.
Being audit-ready is not some frantic, last-minute scramble right before an inspection. It's not an event, it's a daily discipline. It is the natural, automatic outcome of doing your job with excellence and with foresight, every single day.
So what does this daily discipline actually look like? Well, it really stands on three main pillars. First up, traceability. Can you follow the story of every single data point? You have to document every decision. Second, current documentation. Your data management plan, your change logs, these have to be living documents, always reflecting the true current state of the study. And third, systematic oversight. Things like a well-maintained query management log that shows an auditor you have control and you have a process for absolutely everything.
Here it is. This is the question you should be asking yourself constantly. If an auditor sat down at your desk right now, could you pull up the documentation and confidently explain every significant decision made on your study, backed up with solid evidence? If the answer is yes, then you are audit ready. Okay, so you're managing risk proactively, you're always audit ready. What's next? Well, the final piece of the puzzle is communicating all of this effectively. This is exactly how you transition from being just a data technician to becoming a trusted strategic advisor.
Always remember, it's not just what you do that matters, it's how you communicate it. Your calm, structured, confident approach when you're discussing risks, that's what builds incredible trust with sponsors and total confidence with auditors.
So how do you actually do this? Well, first, never ever just present a problem. Frame it with its potential impact and your proposed mitigation plan. Always. Second, always share lessons learned. It shows you're thinking ahead about prevention for the future.
And finally, when you speak, especially in an audit, present the facts and always have the documentation to back it up. Let the evidence do the talking for you.
All right, we've definitely covered a lot of ground. So to help you put all this into practice right away, here's a simple little action plan you can literally start on this week.
First, I want you to create a simple mini risk register for your current study. Just identify 3 potential risks, their impact, and your plan to mitigate them. Second, pick one key document, maybe your DMP, and review it with a really critical eye, asking that one question: is this thing inspection ready today? And third, think about a recent issue you handled, and I want you to practice explaining it in what I call audit language. You know, here was the issue, here was the impact, and here is exactly how we resolved and documented it.
And that brings us to the final thought I really want to leave you with. As you go back to your work, just ask yourself this: what is the single biggest risk you can proactively mitigate on your project this week? I want you to start there.
You know, just tackling that one risk, that's your first proactive step. And consistently taking these small, proactive steps, that is what will absolutely set you on the path to becoming a real leader in our field.
Hey, if you found this explainer helpful, please be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next one in our series. We've got a new Beyond the Basics explainer coming out every Monday at 8 a.m. Eastern. And listen, if you're mentoring any newer colleagues, you should check out our beginner's guide, Mentoring Maya, which comes out every Wednesday at 8 a.m. Eastern. Thanks so much for joining me today.